Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. In this video I review episode 1 of season 14 of Doctor Who, titled Space Babies. I'm going to tell you what I like about the episode, I'm going to tell you what I didn't like about the episode, then I'm going to tell you why I think you should see the episode or just skip it. So, without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing I loved about this episode was its cuteness. So you have the space babies. It's not that they look like babies, but they have adult voices. They look like babies, they sound like babies, they even think like babies.
Everyone back to work. Show Mummy and Daddy what a good job we've been doing. Make them proud. My job is to keep the pipes clean. I'm proud of the pipes. And I keep the oxygen nice and cool. We need oxygen to breathe. And I pull this string and that string. I'm not sure what they do, but I pull them very hard.
They think like genius babies. Of course, there was a movie, franchise, Baby Geniuses. So they are genius babies, but still emotionally they're babies. There's even, lines like, "So, were we born wrong?" That type of thing. So they very much have the baby childlike nature, which makes you kind of pull on your heartstrings. There were definitely times when I almost teared up. Being a father of a young child, I have a 6-year-old. Your child says certain things. They'll ask what happens if if mommy and daddy goes away, what will happen to me? And it just pulls at your heartstrings. You just try to be the parent and try to love and comfort them. But that's the type of stuff. And so that's what you got with this episode. Very much this idea of, the babies wanting to get validation, wanting to be loved, not having the love for the most part. And so trying to be brave and things like that. So I love that aspect of the show. Super cute. And so, if you love babies, you'll love that part of the show, or love kids in general. The second thing I loved about the episode was the political kind of statements, political allegories that were throughout the episode. They dealt with everything from abortion to the refugee crisis, the idea of them being born wrong, LGBT plus issues. So, I tend to lean left, and so the political stuff didn't put me off at all. I can understand if it does for people who are maybe more right-leaning, but for me, it was great. And one of the great things about science fiction is that you can talk about these issues without being super literal. So the idea is that you had this company, spoiler alert by the way, you had this company that, they could create the babies, but they couldn't, there was no way to stop the births from happening. Really is very much like the idea that you can, we want you to bring life into the world, but we don't want to do anything to take care of it. So you can't use contraception, for example, which is what the stopping the births is kind of the analogy for. And so I like that. I like the political stances, again, refugee issues, LGBT plus, abortion, all that stuff. So, one of the things about this season, they are leaning into that, and I'm fine with it. I've already kind of seen the Devil's Cord, and that also leans into kind of pronouns and things like that and identity. So yeah, I'm fine with that. And so again, if you're not into that, this is probably not for you, but very much I was fine with it. And the last thing, and again, spoiler alert, at the very end, the Doctor, rather than being fine with shooting the boogeyman out into the space, it saves it. And so that's very much in character with the Doctor. The Doctor isn't necessarily trying to go and massacre and genocide a whole species. Now there was the whole idea of there was a Doctor who did it with the Daleks during the war between the Daleks and the Time Lords, but that wasn't like what we think of as the Doctor. The Doctor is there to preserve life, to save people. He sees value in all life. And so it's very much in character. So I like the fact that he did do that. Now, I did a reaction to it that's posted on my Patreon, where I'm like, when I'm reacting to it in the moment, I'm like, why are you doing that? But in retrospect, thinking back on it, it makes sense. It's in character. And I like the fact that this Doctor is very much in line with the previous ones, regardless of what anyone says about that. This is the Doctor. Very much, like the ones that we've seen before. Alright, so what didn't I like? Well, the main thing I didn't like was the grossness of this episode. So the fact that the boogie monster is literally made out of boogies is, I almost threw up. It would not have been my choice. I mean, Russell T Davies is a creative, writer, really good at what he does. but this was a little bit much. This is definitely not something that I would not recommend this episode to anyone because of the grossness of it. It's a little bit immature, and so that's kind of the thing. Also, can the at the very end, the space station being pushed by baby farts or baby gas is another kind of grossness. So it's very immature, very gross, and so hopefully there's not too many episodes like this. Because honestly, if this is every week that kind of thing, then I think I'm gonna be out. I also had issues with pacing. I think I covered that in my reaction on Patreon, that it kind of goes from thing to thing to thing. It's really fast. And so if you cut out maybe some aspects, okay, so two things. Either you make the show longer, episode longer, and it's on streaming, so you can make it as long as you want. Or you could take out some stuff here and there, but the pacing was too much. It was too fast. It went this stuff. So you had the beginning of the episode, then you had the baby stuff towards the end, was crammed together, and it just went. The pacing was off, especially with the boogeyman. So the boogeyman shows up, and it can't really build up to any kind of suspense or fear because it's there, it scares, and you're gone. You're on to the next thing. So the pacing on this was really, really off. And this will probably be my most unpopular take. So in the middle of the episode, or part of the episode, you had the memory of the church, Ruby Lane, Ruby Sunday. The church was basically where Ruby Sunday was found. And they keep doing the flashbacks, which I know they'll be doing throughout the season. It took me out a bit, so it stopped, it starts snowing, they have a memory, and I'm like, oh my God, like, why? It just took me out, it slowed things down, and that's just something, it was annoying. Obviously, you gotta do that, you gotta do the flashbacks, but not necessarily in this moment. Kind of going with the pacing things. Maybe, again, you could add a little bit more exposition with this story here, and not keep going back to the church, I think Church on Ruby Road or whatever. So yeah, that was one thing. I know some people are like, you have to do it as part of the plot. But for me, it took me out of it. And I just think, just have them interspersed throughout the season, just not at this moment. So, should you see this episode or just skip it? And so for me, this is not an episode I'm going to go back to again because of the grossness. It grossed me out a bit. There's definitely, again, a little bit of so I had issues with uploading the reaction to YouTube, so that's why I'm putting it on Patreon. And so I've seen the next episode, and that episode I would rewatch again. This one, no, because again, the grossness. I definitely wouldn't recommend this one either. So honestly, in that tone, skip it. Like, I can't recommend it. It's just too gross. Like, I'm sure my wife will end up watching it. I'm not going to recommend it to her. She gets grossed out by that stuff too. So yeah, so I would say skip this one. The second one's fine. It's a little alluding to that one. But yeah, this one I'm fine if you skip it. I mean, obviously it had good parts. So if you want to go watch it, that's fine. But for me, I seen it. I enjoyed the baby parts, and if you skip through the end of it, that might be fine. But I can't recommend it. So I would say take it or leave it at this point. Not a big recommendation. Either way. Alright, so if you found that review interesting and or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if there are other shows you want me to review, please leave those suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.